Hey folks, welcome to Moonshift Audio. My name's Jack, I'm a mix engineer and a producer based in Bristol, UK. I put out a new video every week, so please do like and subscribe. This week I'm going to be looking at how if you want a tight low end and a track that really grooves, you need to start way back at the actual composition and sequencing stage. Principles like this are really important, and in this video I will show you how getting your programming right will help you get a tight low end way more than any amount of production or mixing ever will. If you'd like to work with me as a producer or mix engineer, or you'd like some support with one of your tracks, you can get in touch at moonshiftaudio.com or leave me a comment down below. But for now, let's jump into Cubase. Alright, so here we are in Cubase, and I've got a simple loop that I pulled from Splice. This is just a drum loop. Got that kind of like future disco, larger than life kind of thing going on. Love those sort of gunshot snare claps that we've got in there. And I've layered in a very, very simple line on a synth from Serum. And I've got two examples of a nice funky bass line. And the one here in red, we'll just listen to it without the drums. So it's grooving, it's funky, and it kind of works, right? But what I want to draw attention to is where the kicks are. So what I've done is I've gone in and I've made all of the kicks purple. Just so that we can kind of try and keep an eye on where these notes are in relation to the bass line. So start off on the downbeat, works nicely. But it starts to fall apart quite quickly after that, because we've got this nice double kick hit here, but you can see the bass note doesn't drop until after that. Then it gets a bit busy, and we've got a bass note here that hits a 16th before that next kick, and then we've got a kick here which is on its own. Now, I'm not saying that you need to make sure that the bass only ever hits when there's a kick drum playing or vice versa, but having some kind of connection, some kind of synchronicity between these two fundamental low-end rhythm parts will make a massive, massive difference to how tight it feels. So see if you can pay attention now between the kicks and the bass line. So just to give you a demonstration of how this could work better, without listening to it, I'm just going to go through this bass line. It's the same. We'll just play it on its own just so you can hear it. Yeah, so very, very similar notes, similar vibe to the one in red, but we land on the downbeat, yeah? So that is a kick and a bass note together. We get to these next double kick hits, and you can see that although we've got a bass note before the first one, the second bass note lands on that kick hit. Then here we've got a couple of bass notes that are kind of doing their own little run up, but the main bass note here, which is the root note of the next chord, is landing on the downbeat where we've got this kick drum. Then we get another note on its own, and here we've got a bass note and that final kick together, and then we've got the little kind of run up, little flourish at the end. So let's listen to this with the drums. We could tighten this up even more if we wanted. We just came in here and moved these over just once, so they now will be completely lined up. But do you know what? I don't know if I like that so much. If anything, I would be inclined to delete that second kick ignore that dodgy edit there. That's obviously I wouldn't do that if I was producing this, but gives you an idea of how sometimes there's a groove that's kind of running through the music, and you want the kick and the bass in particular to really accentuate that. But also by making sure that they are attuned to each other and that the parts that they each play are sympathetic to each other, you're going to get a much tighter, more solid low end that's going to make people want to move more. We can take a look at another example. On this one is more of a kind of poppy, kind of organic sort of vibe. And I loaded up a basic bass patch, again it's sort of quite a funky sort of vibe, and I threw a few notes together and it sounds like this. So the bass has got a groove, for sure. It's got a nice rhythm going on there. But it's not really the same rhythm that the drums have, because the drums have got a very, very defined rhythm. Bum, 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 bum. And, you know, they kind of work around each other. But what this beat is really crying out for is a bass line that locks into it. So I've put together this one. And if we play that with the drums. The low end is just so much tighter, and there's no processing involved there. This is not a mix thing. This isn't even so much a sound choice thing. This is before any of that. This is a composition thing. This is about where you choose to put your kick drums and your bass notes and how they work together. Let's take a look at one more example. All right, so I've pulled up the kind of make your own jungle break project from a previous video. This is the jungle break that I made from scratch by programming a sort of funk break and then pitching it up. And I threw a little jam around that just to demonstrate how it would work in a mix. And so I loaded in a nice kind of like old school pad sample. And you can see at the top here, I've just turned all the kicks purple so that it's easier to see what's going on. And we'll put in a bass line. Now this is a very simple kind of sine wave type bass. It sounds like this. So I feel like the start of the line works really well. We've got this like boom, boom. And you know, you can see that note there and these kicks are kind of in line, and it's all right to have one that doesn't perfectly match up, but it's here where these kicks start getting busy. It starts to get a little bit messy, and then here in particular we've kind of like landing on the downbeat, and then we've got this another kick here and the bass is behind it, and I feel like oftentimes that's gonna give you problems. So let's just listen to that. So if we were to play my green lit bass line instead. Let's try that in the mix. Yeah, so you really just feel how it rolls that little bit better. So hopefully that gives you some idea of how the way that you actually compose the elements, the way that you actually sequence your drums and your bass is really critical to ending up with not just a tight arrangement, production, but a tight mix as well. And this isn't just something that's kick and bass. I think it's important to tie your kick and bass together, but there are a lot of other elements that if you can kind of keep in mind the overall groove of the track that you're making when you make every element, and they all support a groove that kind of runs through the core of the track, then the whole thing is going to sound tighter, it's going to make people move more, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to mix when it gets to that stage. That's it for this week, but please do like and subscribe for more tips, tricks, resources and downloads from me at Moonshift Audio. Till next time.